Hello and welcome to the first in a brand new series of vlogs on entrepreneurship, brought to you by the team at Creative Ideaz. Whether you're an entrepreneur already or just thinking about dipping your toes into the world of business, these short and helpful videos are here to help and guide you, offering insightful and informative advice from people who've already begun their journey. In this, our first video, I'm delving into the subject of work-life balance. How do you achieve it? Is it even possible? What's the secret? Let's get down to business and find out. My name's Kash Sangha and I'm a growth strategist and co-founder here at Creative Ideaz. So, how do you achieve and maintain the perfect work-life balance? Before I dive straight in, I think it's wise to address a few facts first, as it really helps to put things into perspective. According to gov.uk, in Great Britain at the start of 2022, the UK private sector business population comprised of 3.1 million sole proprietorships, which is 56% of the total. 2.1 million actively trading companies, 37%, and 353,000 ordinary partnerships, 6%. However, according to data from Startup Genome, the failure rate for new startups in the UK is a massive 60%. And this isn't just the case for the UK. This 60% failure figure sits in line with the global average. I don't need to tell you that 60% is a substantial figure. Anyone can see that it is. But why is this figure so high? Are people who start up business seriously unprepared for what is it about to entail? Is it like having a baby? Can you only fully understand what you've got yourself into once you're into it? Let's take a look at how you can make sure you aren't one of the people who fall at the first hurdle. Tip number 1, switch off. With the reliance on tech constantly increasing, it can be incredibly hard to switch off. But if you're going to steer clear of burnout, it's vital that you do. One great practice is to limit your work to one device. That could mean that you could have a laptop for work that you use during core work hours, and once it's switched off, that's the end of your working day. If your work involves numerous phone calls, then perhaps you could even have a separate work phone, which should also be turned off outside your core work hours. By limiting work to certain devices, it's easier to separate work from home life so that they don't end up blurring into one another. Tip number 2, plan. If you find that work is overtaking your life and leaving you with very little time for anything else, it's time to get smart and plan ahead. Who says you must be sitting down at your desk to have your virtual meeting? Do you absolutely need to be in your office for those back-to-back phone calls? If not, then why not take your meetings with you? Head to the park for a walk and enjoy a little light exercise while you iron out your work issues. Planning is also a vital tool if you're going to keep your work in work hours and not let it slip over into your home life. You'll need to be strict with yourself though, and it's all too easy to become so consumed by your business that you end up thinking about it night and day. To help you get things done, try a productivity app like Pomodoro. You work in short, sharp bursts and take breaks after each block of time. It's a great way to improve focus. Tip number 3, don't do it alone. Setting up your own business or running one can be intense, and it can be all too easy to become so focused on it that you end up forgetting to connect with the people around you. Whether it's friends and family or work colleagues, make time during the working day to connect with people. You could go for a walk, grab a coffee, or enjoy a lunchtime run. Whatever it is, just make sure you take time away from your desk and spend it with someone else. It will help invigorate you both mentally and physically. Tip number 4, let your body guide you. Do you work best in the morning, or are you better late at night? Perhaps the 9 to 5 routine just doesn't work for you, and that's okay. If you know you tackle mentally intensive work best first thing in the morning, then acknowledge that and make sure you address those tasks when your brain is at its best. If you're better in meetings once you've had a coffee, set those Zoom calls for after 11 AM. If you always feel the mid-afternoon slump at 3 PM, why not have a 20-minute nap and then come back reinvigorated instead of forcing your way through it? Listen to your body and find out what works best for you. You'll get much more done and feel happier doing it. Tip number 5, take a beat. If you're feeling like you've got so caught up in your work that you can't see a way out, it's time to take a beat. Stop, pause, breathe. Step back so you can see things more clearly. This simple act should help you to see what's going wrong. By taking a breather, you should hopefully be able to see what your priorities are and whether your current way of life is in line with them. If you feel like things aren't matching up, then spend some time looking at why that might be. Think about how all of this makes you feel, and then consider things you could do in order to address those feelings and make them better. If you're worried about your work-life balance and you feel like you're struggling to get it right, there are plenty of resources out there to help you. Take a look at the Mental Health Foundation's website, which we'll put the link on the screen. They've got a whole section on work-life balance. The NHS also offers great mental wellbeing tips if you're struggling with working from home, and you can find these at this link here.